June 20, 2024. Thursday of the 11th week in Ordinary Time. A reading from the book of Sirach. The prophet Elijah arose like a fire and his word burned like a torch. He brought a famine upon them, and by his zeal he made them few in number. By the word of the Lord he shut up the heavens, and also 3 times brought down fire. How glorious you were, O Elijah, in your wondrous deeds! And who has the right to boast that which you have? You who raised a corpse from death and from Hades, by the word of the Most High, who brought kings down to destruction and famous men from their beds, who heard rebuke at Sinai and judgments of vengeance at Horeb, who anointed kings to inflict retribution and prophets to succeed you. You who were taken up by a whirlwind of fire in a chariot with horses of fire, you who are ready at the appointed time, it is written, to calm the wrath of God before it breaks out in fury, to turn the heart of the Father to the Son, and to restore the tribes of Jacob. Blessed are those who saw you and those who have been fallen asleep in love, for we also shall surely live. It was Elijah who was covered by the whirlwind, and Elisha was filled with his spirit. He performed twice as many signs and marvels with every utterance of his mouth. In all his days he did not tremble before any ruler, and no one brought him into subjection. Nothing was too hard for him, and when he was dead his body prophesied. As in his life he did wonders, so in death his deeds were marvelous. The word of the Lord. Responsorial Psalm. Response: Rejoice in the Lord, you just. The Lord is King, let earth rejoice, let the many islands be glad. Cloud and darkness surround him, justice and right are the foundation of his throne. Rejoice in the Lord, you just. A fire prepares his path, it burns up his foes on every side. His lightnings light up the world, the earth looks on and trembles. Rejoice in the Lord, you just. The mountains melt like wax before the face of the Lord, before the face of the Lord of all the earth. The skies proclaim his justice, all peoples see his glory. Rejoice in the Lord, you just. Let those who serve idols be ashamed, those who boast of their worthless gods. All you angels, worship him. Rejoice in the Lord, you just. Alleluia, Alleluia. You have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba, Father. Alleluia, Alleluia. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. At that time, Jesus said to his disciples, When you pray, do not heap up empty phrases as the Gentiles do, for they think that they will be heard for their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Pray then like this: Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you, but if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. The Gospel of the Lord. Reflection. Thursday, 11th week in Ordinary Time. When it comes to prayer, we all feel a little inadequate. We often sense that our prayer is not all it could be. The sense that we are not praying well can often leave us discouraged and keep us from praying, at least from engaging in private, personal prayer. Paul was aware of how we can struggle to pray. That is why in his letter to the Romans he says, we do not know how to pray as we ought. In that very same verse, however, he declares, the Spirit helps us in our weakness, that very Spirit intercedes with sighs too deep for words. Paul is saying that a wordless prayer of the Spirit is going on deep within us, even in our struggle to pray. One of the roles of the Spirit in our lives is to help us to pray, to do our praying for us. When we are too weak to pray, the Spirit's help in the area of prayer is a continuation of Jesus' help. In today's Gospel reading, Jesus teaches his disciples how to pray. He tells them to keep their prayer simple. There is no reason for them to babble many words like the pagans. He then gives his disciples the gift of a prayer which has this quality of simplicity, what has become known as the Lord's Prayer. It is a prayer which acknowledges God's lordship, the priority of God's kingdom and God's will, and then acknowledges all that we need from God: physical and spiritual nourishment, forgiveness, and strength in times of trial. When we struggle to pray, these simple but essential elements can help to give focus to our prayer.